Thank you for downloading this episode of Folk on Foot. Before we start, I just wanted to share a brief message. If you like what we do, we really need your support to keep going. You can join our wonderful band of members and you'll get great rewards. These include access to our amazing Folk on Foot on film archive of hundreds of songs shot on location on our travels around the UK and Ireland. To sign up, just go to folkonfoot.com/support us. You'll also get an ad-free version of all our episodes and an email postcard from me each time we go on a walk. If you just want the ad-free version, it'll cost you £3 a month, and you can get it through your Apple Podcast app or at folkonfoot.com/support us. Finally, if you don't want to make a regular commitment but do want to show how much you love us, you can simply buy us a coffee. You can also do that at folkonfoot.com/support us. Every penny we get goes back into making more episodes of Folk on Foot. So thank you and enjoy the walk. The regular beat of the fountain signals that we're in Stockton High Street in Teesside, and we're here to meet Stu and Debs Hanna of Megson. And they're people who were born and brought up here but have now moved away, but they're going to introduce us to the rich industrial history of this landscape and the banks of its famous river. Well, and as you might be able to hear, the rain is really coming down heavily. But down this little alleyway off the high street is a Georgian theatre, which is where we're going to meet Stu and Debs. I think they're going to let us in because we can't get in through this automatic door.
Welcome.
Hello!
Welcome to the Georgian Theatre in Stockton. Entertaining people since Georgian times. So I used to play in a punk band in the 1990s. I was 14, I remember the first time, and it was a great way of getting some sneaky alcohol when you were 14. If you were in the band, you see.
Right. So you used to come here?
Yeah, so we come in here and watch. First of all, we'd watch metal bands. Like I remember the Megadeth tribute band, and then I'd perform here loads of times actually.
Are we getting in through the door?
Yeah.
Yeah. We can go to the auditorium here, can't we? So, what kind of music were you playing?
Punk music. It was loud. It was very loud. Imagine the snare drum ripping around this room. Bah! It used to go, and it was, yeah.
Was it full and sweaty?
Yeah.
It was exactly that, yeah.
A lot of leaping up and down, spitting, that kind of thing?
Yeah, we weren't particularly angry, but we were very dynamic, I suppose you'd say.
So yeah, I spent many a time coming here watching Stu play when we were friends, didn't I?
So what, you've known him for a long time?
Yeah, since we were about 15, 16?
Yeah.
Yes. We met through the local music service singing in a choir, so there was kind of a big group of us who were all into music, and a lot of us used to come down here as well, and, you know, it was a good scene.
Yeah, one of the great things about the area when we were teenagers was there was this amazing state-funded music service. So I remember being about 8 or 9, and this scary lady came to the school and made everyone clap in time. And if you could clap in time, they'd force a violin on you. So there we go. Here's a violin. Go and learn that, and they give you a free instrument and free lessons. And the same with Debs, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely the same. Yeah. So,
well, what about the choir you were in? What sort of things were you singing in the choir?
So that was the youth choir. So lots of kind of, classical stuff, but then kind of, I don't know, Beach Boys type, arrangements, bit of everything. Really, we tackled some really tricky material, to be fair, when we were all like 16.
The quality of both the music service and the music scene around on Teesside when we grew up was really good. So there's like the Brodsky Quartet, a famous classical quartet, came from the same orchestra that we played in. And again, all through this like state-funded music service, which was brilliant. And how we met. So we used to sit next to each other in the choir, and she was the star soprano, and I was there to meet the ladies, I suppose you'd say.
And it worked.
It worked.
You are still together. But there's a lovely folk tradition here as well, isn't there? Starting in the 19th century.
Yeah, well, obviously Teesside, the area, or as it is now, isn't that old particularly. But from the Industrial Revolution onwards, people started to write songs, and particularly when the chemical plants cropped up. So in the 50s and 60s, and there was acts like Vin Garbutt and the Teesside Fettlers, who were a big inspiration to us, and songwriters like Graham Miles as well, who wrote a lot of songs about the industry. And that was really I suppose, the folk tradition of Teesside is very heavily industry focused.
Yeah.
Would you give us a little taste of one of the songs from that time?
Yeah, sure. We could do a Teesside Fettlers, Graham Miles song.
Yeah.
A song called Ring of Iron, which just kind of sets the landscape of where we are really in Teesside.
It's all around the town, all around the town, all around the town, this hard ring of iron. There's smoke up in the sky, smoke up in the sky, smoke up in the sky, outside this ring of iron. There's hills and pastures green, hills and pastures green, hills and pastures green, outside this ring of iron. And it's all around the town, all around the town, all around the town, this hard ring of iron. It's all around the town, all around the town, all around the town, this hard ring of iron.
Now, I notice you've got your waterproof trousers
I'm
on,
all
and
ready.
you've got your waterproof coat on, and you've got your accordion on your back.
Yeah.
Debs has got her waterproof trousers, but she didn't pack mine.
Oh, no. Is she responsible for the waterproof trousers?
Well,
Is that her job?
To be fair, no, there has been
You
a few
take the
issues
bins
with
out.
them. Yeah.
So
Issues of waterproof
you're going to
trousers.
get wet,
Yeah.
but never mind, Steve. You've
No
got your
mind.
guitar on your back.
Yeah.
Where are we going to go now?
We'll go down to the river, I think. Walk along the river.
Yeah.
Why not? We're in
River
Teesside.
Tees.
Yes.
That's the thing to do, I think.
Let's
Yeah.
go out.
So the plan is, we're starting off on the north side of the river, which is where Stockton is, where we are now, and is traditionally County Durham. And then eventually we will cross one of the bridges into Yorkshire, which is where Middlesborough is and where Debs is from. I'm from Stockton, or a part of it called Billingham, County
Which is
Durham.
where the chemical works was.
Exactly,
ICI.
yeah. And we'll see some of that along the way, actually. We've started to knock a fair bit of it down because it's not getting used as much as it was, but there's still a fair bit of it left.
And can I point out that you may not have any waterproof trousers, but you've certainly got an umbrella.
Well, exactly. Yeah, I've got to keep my hair looking all right.
So we're right down by the river now and just coming under an underpass, which is taking the traffic over, but also sheltering us from the rain, which is really nice. I mean, the river is absolutely crucial to this place, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. The industry has just relied on the Tees for its lifeline, really, hasn't it?
Even before that, when Stockton was an important market town, in the 19th, 18th centuries, and so it would have, all the trade would have come up down this big, wide river.
Yeah.
And it was, at times it was invaded by Vikings and all that, the river's important to keep them away and keep them at bay,
And the steelworks that were here would have been based here because of the river, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
And obviously the proximity of coal fields.
Yes.
And the iron that was in the Cleveland Hills as well. So you had those three things, they could get, there's people around, and there was the iron in the hills, and they could transport it very quickly. And so we'll pass a few bridges. This is the first one.
Yeah, lots of bridges.
But you've got a song about the river, haven't you?
We have, yeah. I mean, obviously we're quite inspired by our surroundings, being from this area, industry and the river. It's all very much in our songwriting. So yeah, we wrote a song called "The River Never Dies," and like we were talking about the history of the river. You know, if the river could talk to us and tell us some of its history, you know, have some fascinating tales. So we wanted to write a song just to kind of tell, you know, kind of the Tees through the time and the ages, really.
It's almost like as if the river was speaking, you know, telling its story.
Yeah.
You know, the energy that it's got. The fact it just keeps going. You know, no matter what, nothing will really stop it.
Born in 41, beneath the shadow of a setting sun. The lights were out, the wall was on. How the river died. We waved our flags in 52. There was nothing else for the kids to do, so we chased the boats when the day was through, watching how the river died. But it seems to me that we kill our dreams as the water grows, flows out to the sea. I've been told there'll be nothing left to see before we're old. All these voices singing how the river died. All of the stones we throw in will never shift this water off its course. I am certain now the river never died. Froze to death in 63, so they give us jobs making polythene and let the waste run into the sand and the sea, watching how the river died. They changed our name in 74, but we got the deal we were striking for. If we only knew then what the future's of, we know how the river died. But it seems to me that we kill our dreams as the water grows and flows out to the sea. I've been told there'll be nothing left to see before we're old. All these voices singing how the river died. All of the stones we throw in will never shift this water off its course. I am certain now the river never died. Our work in 85, the Iron Queen wouldn't keep us alive. Took our money, didn't take our pride. The white feather flew in 96 down the river Tees, past the boats and the bricks and bore its chest. Used its crucifix and in the river never died. It seems to me that we kill our dreams as the water grows, flows out to the seas. I've been told there'll be nothing left to see before we're old. All these voices singing how the river died. All of the stones we throw in will never shift this water off its course. I am certain now the river never died.
was fantastic. And just when I heard that line about freezing to death, I could see you're here. There must be the coldest performance you've ever given of that song.
Definitely not. We've been colder. We used to go busking in Middlesbrough at Christmas time, and Stu would play the guitar, and there'd be me singing and a couple of our friends. And we'd get a big crowd, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
And it was always Christmas time often, so it was quite cold. And we'd suddenly have this big crowd around us, and then Stu would be like, "Oh, my hands are too cold, I can't go on."
I was freezing, my hands are absolutely freezing. And these girls go, "Keep playing, we're making some good money here." And my hands were just freezing up, and that's why I've got arthritis today. Because she used to make me play guitar on the cold streets.
Cruel person.
I know.
So listen, let's get the instruments away out of the rain, and we can carry on with our walk.
No.
So we're walking parallel to the river with a wire fence on our left and a big road system over to the left, and it's very, very wet underfoot, big puddles to splash through. But we're not downhearted, are we?
No, we've got a sandwich.
Stu's got his own sandwich. Can I say he's brought a sandwich, which I think...
Got some pot pies as well, actually.
Oh,
No?
well, he's all right then. So there's a few boats moored on this side of the river, and then a lot of buildings on the other side. It's quite built up, isn't it, here, the riverbank?
It is. I mean, that's kind of Teesside, really. That's all, that's what we've grown up with.
Did you used to walk by the river when you were younger?
I don't think we did particularly.
Well, it depends, really. I mean, the Tees goes on for such a long way. We would go for a day trip to High Force, which is a big waterfall, so you're getting kind of more out to the countryside there. That was like, a day trip out, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I suppose, up into the Dales, is it really, I suppose?
Yeah.
Where the Tees starts, it's really beautiful around there. And you'd go paddling there and have an ice cream. Round here isn't particularly where you wouldn't go paddling in the Tees at this point, it's far too dirty. There was a bit we used to go to as well, called Seal Sands, right on the mouth of the Tees. And there's really cool sand dunes there, you'd have a good play. And I never really knew why it was called Seal Sands, because there were no seals. But then it turns out there used to be seals there, just all the industry had killed them off, or pushed them away. But if we're lucky today,
we might see some.
We might see some seals. Last time,
Well, since the industry's gone, the seals have come back.
In the 90s and the noughties, the river cleaned up a lot, and so a lot of the wildlife has come back now, which is nice.
It was so interesting listening to your song about the ups and downs of the area, and a lot of downs. Were you aware of that when you were living here, about the difficulties that people were having because of the unemployment and so on?
I think
completely. I think everyone's been impacted by it, and a lot of the big employers were just taking on less people. So ICI was a big employer, Imperial Chemical Industries, and the town Billingham where I was from was essentially built by ICI to home its people, but then it did less and less in the 70s and 80s, and more people that we knew were becoming made redundant. My mum worked for it, but she was a secretary, she found something else to do. But a lot of other people didn't. At the same time, the steel industry was doing less, and obviously in County Durham, all the mines were closing down as well. So
and there was shipbuilding as well at one point, wasn't there? Which again was another casualty. But I think definitely you're kind of aware of all of that when you're growing up here.
What did your family do, Deb?
My dad worked for the council. He was a housing officer for the council. My mum worked actually in school. She was a teaching assistant for the visually impaired. So actually she taught in a school, and she used to look after David Eagle from the Young Uns.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he remembers her. Oh, yeah, Mrs. Palmer,
fantastic.
yeah.
And Stu, what about your family?
Yeah, so my dad was an engineer. He worked at Black & Decker, who made drills up in Sedgefield, I think the plant was. But like a lot of things, they moved the plant over to Czech Republic in the end. So he actually went over there for a couple of years.
What, he went to work there?
Yeah. When they moved the factory over there, and we'd left home by that point, so it was a nice little holiday for him, I think.
I think you left home and went to study in London, didn't you?
Yeah. So I went to music college in London. I'd already done
quite a prestigious music college.
Yeah, Trinity College of Music. Yeah, I trained to be a classical singer, so I'd already done a music degree. starting off when we met and singing in the choir, then I kind of went down that route quite a lot. So a lot of the choral tradition.
Could you have been an opera singer?
Yeah, I could have been.
Yeah, she was amazing. She still is. She still hits those high notes sometimes at home, and now her daughter goes, "What is that?" You know?
Like glass shutters
Yeah, exactly,
on the
yeah.
sideboard.
Yeah. So I went, and did my postgrad over in London. Yeah, we're singing a lot of classical and opera stuff there, really.
Meanwhile, Stu's in the punk band.
It's exactly that time, yeah. So I was in a punk band and living up here, and Debs had gone to music college. And eventually I just got sick of the noise of it, the sounds of the talk about that snare drum sound. And obviously I was missing Debs, so I moved down to London. And that's when we started doing folk music, I suppose. Yeah.
How did folk music begin for both of you?
We were not really aware of the folk scene, to be honest. When I was doing all my singing grade, you always have to sing an unaccompanied folk song. So I kind of had a load of folk songs under my belt that I knew. And we'd started listening to, like, I've been in London when they had the big, massive, like, HMV in the Virgin, and you could go down and you could just pick up things and listen to them there. And I remember going down and just listening to some things. It was coming up to Stu's birthday at one point. And I picked up a CD by a band called Nickel Creek, and I was like, oh, whoa, this is amazing. And then also there was a Cara Dillon one there, I think.
Yeah, and Kate Rusby, I remember that.
Yeah,
time
so I
as
remember
well.
picking up some of these CDs to give to Stu and kind of like realised that there was this scene out there, didn't we?
We were looking for something to do, I suppose, musically, and I had an acoustic guitar with us down in London, and Debs knew these folk songs. So we were like, oh, let's arrange these folk songs for acoustic guitar and singing, and then became aware that people have been doing that for 40 years.
Yeah.
But we started off really. London had a great, I suppose you'd call it like open mic
night, yeah.
nights. We'd travel all around London with a mandola and a guitar. What was the one in Earl's Court?
Troubadour in Earl's Court, all
and
these
the Bedford
venues.
and Balham, and these lovely little places to play. And then slowly people started saying, oh, you should go and try some of the folk clubs and the folk festivals. And I remember going to Cambridge Folk Festival, I think it was 2004, 2003, and then suddenly becoming totally immersed in this folk scene and thinking, wow, this is amazing. We just felt like we belonged there musically, if that makes sense.
I think the first time we went to Cambridge, there was a point where you could sign up to go and play on one of the stages, but you had to get up really early and get in a queue. There used to be a massive queue. I remember getting up and getting into that queue, didn't we? Yeah. So we could get a sign up for to play 2 songs on the stage at the festival.
I remember playing out in the Cambridge Festival, around the bar bit, and just busking, and people said, you two are great. It'd be great to see you on the main stage someday. We got there eventually. It took us,
How long did it take?
About 10 years, I think. Slowly, that's our life, slowly work things up.
But were you looking back here? I mean, when you were starting to build repertoire, did you think, well, hang on a minute, there's repertoire in the northeast, and we come from there, and maybe we could harness that?
Yeah, because I think obviously we said I kind of had a lot of folk songs, but kind of a lot of them were more agricultural maybe, or from the countryside, and that didn't really
resonate with us.
It didn't. And I kind of like, if we're going to sing a song, I want to be able to really get into the bones of it and understand it. And that wasn't my world, really. So, we kind of started to dig around and find a lot more of these industrial songs. And then also, we started to write some of our own ones based on what we know about the area as well.
Yeah.
Well, you've got a song about the steel industry, which I think is about the language of the steel industry. Just tell me about the background to that.
Yeah, so it's a point where obviously there's been a big steel industry here, which is now, closed down. And it was at the point when they were talking about closing it down again. It'd already been mothballed, I think, at that point, and they were talking about, extinguishing the flames, really. So we wanted to write a song, but obviously we're not steel workers. So we spent a lot of time kind of immersing yourself in the language, didn't we?
In a very technical language. That's what we wanted to write about. Not kind of everyday language, just like almost the scientific ins and outs of it. There was also amazing film, one of the very first colour films. We experiment with colour film. We went into steelworks and iron mill, and you can see all these the colourful sparks flying around. The molten iron. And it was amazing, and that was one of the things that kind of inspired the emotion, I suppose, behind it.
These are the images of my childhood, because I come from Sheffield.
Oh, right, of course.
And my granddad worked in the steel mills, and I remember the steel mills at the height of their power, with the flame and the smoke coming out,
and the heat.
And do you feel a sense of nostalgia and connection to that because of coming from here?
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of, because that's the reason that Teesside exists. It was because of the iron that they found in the Cleveland Hills. So when we hear about that and we read those stories, it's like that's part of our heritage.
Watch the fire, check the damage. Get your scrap and charge it up. Put the gas on, watch the flashing. When it flows, you fill it up with the heavy scrap and the new big iron. Watch the sparks dance in the dark, as the newborn steel will soon be coming. Burn away every day to keep the fire glowing. Burn away every day to keep the steel mill flowing. Don't let the molten hit the scrap, don't let the fire stop its burning. Get your hand drill, hammer bar, never let the tapple stop its flowing. You break each big from off its out and swing it down into the wagon. So each day repeats again, more than cast and break forever. Burn away every day to keep the fire glowing. Burn away every day to keep the steel mill flowing.
When you sing these songs about this area here, do they take on a different resonance than when you sing them in Cornwall or in Scotland or anywhere else?
Yeah, I suppose they do, yeah. I mean, we've got a good following, obviously, around here because we've played many years, but you do feel people have a certain resonance with the material, and also you feel like a responsibility to tell those stories as well, and you feel a bit more nervous, I think, performing on this
Yeah,
long
you
ground.
definitely do. Because people understand it, you know, don't they?
And
They
did they
know
ever
what
tell
you're
you
talking
got
about.
it wrong? Because, you know, you're looking back perhaps on their lives
Yeah.
or their families' lives and telling stories about it. Did they ever come and say,
Never
hang
had
on a
anyone
minute?
say that, I don't
I
think.
think someone once said, oh, it wasn't quite how I remembered it, some of the language, which is fair enough. Another thing that I've noticed is that when we travel around singing these songs, you'll find a lot of Teesside and North East expats that live all around the country,
Yeah.
I suppose around the world.
Yeah, and people want to come and talk to you and tell you their tales as well, you
Yeah.
know, of the area. Have you ever thought about doing a song about this aspect of Teesside? And
Yeah, I suppose that's how we see ourselves as like Teesside expats, you know.
Part of the Teesside diaspora.
Exactly, yeah, and there is quite a lot of us, you know.
Yeah.
People will come, oh yeah, I used to live there, and they'll tell you the tale, oh, do you know this place? It's really nice to hear, actually.
One day they'll let this fire die. One day they'll let the flame stop burning. But the day there is no use for steel will be the day the world stops turning. From Skinning Grove to Carling Howe, Canary Wharf to the Sydney Harbour. The strength of iron never fades, the mark of steel will last forever. Burn away every day to keep the fire glowing. Burn away every day to keep the steel mill flowing. Burn away every day to keep the fire glowing. Burn away every day to keep the steel mill flowing.
So there's a bit of a sign here in the ground. It says to commemorate the opening of Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee White Water Course by Her Majesty the Queen on the 18th of July 2012. Do you think she came down on a raft?
I think she must have done, with the corgis in there as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Especially with Prince Philip and all that, wouldn't you? So there is some white water here, actually, some foaming water on this side of the course, is this where you see the seals?
Yeah, if you give them a clap, apparently the seals will come.
Clap?
Not the clap, but a clap.
What, like this?
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
I think it's too wet for
Do you
them.
think they respond with their flippers? Yeah. Too wet for them? You can't be too wet for a seal, can it?
I don't know.
I mean,
They're
surely they spend most of their time in water. And it just shows how wide the river is as well, doesn't it? I mean, it's huge here.
Yeah. So there used to be about 800 boats a day going up and down the river.
When it was in its full delivering
floor.
freight.
There's a bridge a bit further down that's raises and lowers, and it used to do that. Even I remember it doing that. Oh look, there's a seal, just on time.
Oh wow!
Oh yes, there is a seal.
I told you the clap worked.
There it is, and it's lying on its back.
It's saying, "Can I have some pork pie?"
Yeah.
Please?
Oh, how wonderful to see a seal. Now it's diving under the water. They dive with such smooth movements, don't they?
Yeah.
And you can see the little ripple where it's gone.
That was a big seal, that one.
That was huge, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
So it's great to see like the river as alive as it is there at the moment. But in the last about 4 or 5 years, they're building a big new port at the mouth of the river, and as part of that, they dredged the River Tees, so they'd get like a deep dredge of it to make it deeper, and it released lots of some scary chemicals, and it had the knock-on effect of killing a lot of the wildlife out at sea at the mouth of the Tees. And so there's a point where there's about millions of crustaceans got washed up. And of course, typical story where the industry says, it's nothing to do with us, it's just a natural occurrence. But
other people think otherwise.
Yeah, so of course people have a mixed relationships with the industry. You know, it provides jobs and livelihoods, but at the same time it can cause a lot of damage to the environment.
We've arrived now at blessed shelter at the Tees Barrage. Presumably this is to do with regulating the river, you know, when it's called the Tees Barrage. It must be to do with regulating the flow of the river. Nice to be underneath. So when you live away from here, which you now do, I think you live in Cambridgeshire, don't you? When you look back here, how do you feel about it? What's your association with it?
I think, like, one of the things when you're growing up around an area that's really industrial, and we'll see some of this, like the chemical works, it becomes really normalised. You don't realise that it's different, and it's only by moving away and then looking back you see what's special about the area that you grew up in, I think. And that was one of the reasons that, again, we wanted to write songs about that, because we realised it was quite a different kind of place.
I think people around here are quite proud of the heritage, aren't they? You know, like.
Well, it's interesting you should say people, because people seem to me to be at the heart of your songwriting.
Yeah.
You like to sort of pick out the individual stories, don't you?
We do.
Then tell the bigger picture. Is that the way you approach it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's very much kind of observations on life and you know, from a personal perspective, I guess. Or
look into where the emotion is, I suppose, and often the emotion is from people, you know, and that's what we empathise with. And you know, I think sometimes songs, they can, if they're just statements of fact, that doesn't really carry any weight. You've got to find where the emotion is, where the heart is in the story, and that's why our songs, I think, tend to be about people a lot.
Would you talk about Patterns, which is a song that might be a good example of that?
Yeah. And we were talking a little bit about kind of the area and, you know, its rise and fall, really, and a lot of unemployment and things that have happened. And we were thinking, again, I think it was a time when the steelworks were closing, we just wanted to write a song from somebody's point of view, and how much kind of we all get sucked into our own little routines and our own little worlds, don't we? And that becomes your life, and you just kind of float along on your little world, your little pattern, and then something can suddenly come along and change that, whether it is unemployment or a bereavement or anything like that, which will just kind of rock your world. And then you kind of have to look at things a bit differently and almost rebuild things and find a new way and a new pattern.
It's how we live our lives, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just the same thing every day.
Same old pattern, same routine. 6:15 we start the day. By 8:15 we're on our way. And you always start your shift at 9. We always strive to be on time. Help the kids get on their way. It's just the same thing every day. By 5:15 you come in home. A kiss for me and the homework done. Where's the time for me and you? Always something else to do. Strange how fast the world can turn. Different patterns, new routines. Something comes from out the blue. You wish there's more that we could do. You came back home at 9:30. Told me everything was fine. Put your shoes down by the door. It's just the news we waited for. And you're trying hard to keep us strong. Kiss me like there's nothing wrong. With all this time for me and you, we'll find something else to do. It's just the same thing every day. Same old pattern, same routine. 6:15 we start the day. Help the kids get on their way. Pick the papers up at 9. We always like to be on time. It's been 10 months and now and then we start to think we'll hope again. And though it's harder to be strong, still you smile like there's nothing wrong. And tell me that there's me and you. We'll find something else to do.
Well, we passed lots of bridges on this walk, but that one looks like the busiest so far for traffic. What is that?
That's the A19 flyover.
Yeah. Is that the road that Chris Rea once wrote a song about, I think called The Road to Hell?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the idea of coming from the beautiful countryside of North Yorkshire and you head over into the chemical industry. But in some ways, for us, that's the road of love, because that's the road that I'd travel across to go and visit Debs when we
so I was south of the river, he was north of the river, so that's how we had to drive over to come and see me. Although I do remember when he first passed his driving test, he was a bit nervous to drive over this flyover. Yeah. So he used to drive around the chemical works by the eye to get
go the back way, avoid the flyover, go through all the chemical works. Through a road called Oxygen Corner, where the oxygen gets piped over the road.
The road's called what?
oxygen corner. So you see all the pipes actually go over the top of the road, like about 6 or 7 of them, all different colours. You know.
It's called Ammonia Avenue
Ammonia
as well.
Avenue, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the Road of Love, which is wonderful, which reminds me to ask you about what it's like working with your life partner as well as your musical partner and so on, because I've interviewed quite a few couples, and I wonder if there's any upside or downside of working with somebody who you also live with.
Yeah, I mean, there is. Yeah, I suppose there's
Go on,
both, isn't
Stu,
there?
what are you going to say?
I was going to say
I think they'll separate you now into a Mr. and Mrs. competition.
it's a beautiful thing. I think like musically, because you know each other so well, it allows you to be really in tune in terms of like the timings and the phrasing and the emotion that you're putting into a performance. So you don't need to communicate as much vocally, almost just by a little kind of body movement. I know kind of when Debs is going to come in with the next line. You know each other so well.
Do you take your work home with you, Debs?
Yeah. I guess that's a downside. Is like you never kind of switch off, or if you're always out and about, there's always suddenly might be talking about, or even just like some admin to do. It's always there. You might be out on a nice, beautiful walk like we are today, but kind of then going, oh, have you done that? Did you send that email, or have you chased that up? So. And
what about musical differences? What if you have a musical disagreement and that goes home with you?
Yeah, no, it doesn't happen that often, does it? To be honest, no. I think over the time you've got to learn. And you do learn to trust each other musically, and so often when we're writing songs, I'll come up with about 3 or 4 ideas and we'll work through them, and Debs will go, that's a load of rubbish, that's a load of rubbish, that one's all right, we can work on that one, and that one is worse than the rest. So,
And do you take that to heart, or are you kind of...
No, that's
okay,
good.
That's fine.
That's what you want, actually.
Clarity.
Yeah, I think I work with a lot of songwriters, and I've worked with a producer. And what you want from collaborators is their honest opinion. You do not really want them to sugarcoat things. You want them to say how they feel, because that's how you get better, with that honesty. And so finding people that you trust that give you that feedback. And you know what? Debs is 100% right. Whenever I then listen back to things, only
Are you making a note of this? This has been recorded. Debs is 100% right.
Only when it comes to music. When I then listen back to things that she said, you go, oh yeah, that's totally right. But when you're writing songs, you can't evaluate them yourself.
It's quite a personal thing,
yeah,
isn't
it is.
it?
Yeah, you're too in the detail. You're too in the emotion of the song or the story.
But what about if you've had a row about who takes the bins out, and then you have to go on stage together at night? Does that ever happen?
Yeah.
No, we don't. We don't tend to that often, do we? I don't know. I suppose if one of us has read the map wrong on the way to the gig.
Yeah. Performing on stage is a great way of, I think if you're ever having a bad day, you put yourself on stage and do a performance and music you love and people that you love, I suppose. Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah, over there, that's the chemical works. Old ICI, those.
That's the ICI factory over there.
It's a big building, isn't it, I believe?
Yeah, so that big ICI tower, it used to be painted, there's 3 stripes on it, which are now white, but they used to be blue. ICI, it used to say. And
there's still some smoke or steam coming out.
Yeah.
There, isn't there?
Still
so there is still work going on.
Yeah.
But that was also like when driving back, that was kind of, you knew you were back in Teesside when you saw that tower,
With the stripes.
Yeah.
And you've still got the accents, which haven't gone. Have you passed those on to your daughter?
She's got a bit of a mixed accent, so she definitely will say it like grass. She calls me ma'am, which is good.
So you're going to make her multi-accented.
Yeah.
Is she a scone or a scone person?
Scone.
Scone, it's got to be scone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to check that.
You're making me hungry now.
Well, we might go and have some lunch in a minute, but I want you to do another song for us before we go, which is The Long Shot, which I think is a song that's incredibly popular with your audiences. Will you just tell us the background to that?
Yeah.
So it's a song about football, I suppose, We wrote it when a team that we support, Middlesborough, had been relegated from the Premier League. But in some ways, more than that, it's a song about no matter how bad things get, just not giving up hope. Always, look for the best, and that's what life's about, I suppose.
Yeah, but I think it's also we used to go to a lot of the matches at the Riverside Stadium, the Borough, go and watch the borough, and you would still often see kind of the same people there, and people always liked to have the seats that they would always sit in, or it was kind of quite a community, wasn't it?
It's another important part of the culture here, isn't
definitely.
it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean all across the northeast, it's it's very important to people, and in a way it brings people together. It gives people, I suppose, when times are hard, something to believe in.
Was a pretty good game today. We could have won by 2 or 3. But all of the lads were there, even cousins Joe and Steve, and old Bob sitting on the end. What a foul mouth that man's got when they missed the goal from the penalty box. I swear he was gonna get shot. Well, thanks for my half-time pie. Cousin Joe says thanks for his scone. I didn't have a go of the half-time draw, 'cause the odds were 10,000 to 1. But old Bob sitting on the end puts the fivers on each week. And when I asked him what the heck he did it for, he said, son, one day you'll see. Take a long shot. If that's all there is, put it in a very safe place where your doubt can't get to it. 'Cause once you're certain that all hope is gone, a long shot is better than none. It's a shocker of a game today. Well, the lads, they huffed and puffed, but 3-0 down by the half-time break. I knew we were gonna get stuffed, but old Bob stuck out to the end, and we nicked 2 quick goals in. And when their keeper ran out to the halfway line, you should have heard Bobby sing, just take a long shot. If that's all there is, put it in a very safe place where your doubt can't get to it. 'Cause once you're certain that all hope is gone, a long shot is better than none. It was a quiet old game today. We haven't seen Bob for a month, and everyone knows he's not coming back. But his seat's still never been touched. Joe said he'd heard the words, that he'd finally popped his socks. But I reckon the sod won his half-time draw. Now he sits in a corporate box, took his long shots. He took his long shots. It was a critical game today, and we got thumped 7-0, but if there was a prize for the best own goal, I think we'd be in with the shouts. Joe was miserable as sin, and Steve said he's gutted too, 'cause there's sod all chance we can stay up now. But I said any old chance will do, I'll take a long shot. If that's all there is, very safe place where your doubts can't get to it. 'Cause once you're certain that all hope is gone, a long shot is better than none. If that's all there is, where your doubts can't get to it. 'Cause once you're certain that all hope is gone, a long shot is better than none. A long shot is better than none.
Well, looking at the road of love, it seems a good place to end our journey. Thank you so much for sharing your songs and your stories with us and for braving this downpour of rain.
Thank you.
Stu and Debs, it's been great.
It's been fantastic. Had a great time.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Folk on Foot as much as we enjoyed making it. There are over 60 episodes of Folk on Foot for you to explore, featuring amazing artists like Eliza Carthy, Johnny Flynn, The Unthanks, Corrine Polwood, Chris Drever, Sandra Kerr, Catherine Tickell, and many, many more. So please do explore our back catalogue. And if you like what we do, we really need your support to keep going. You can become a member and get great rewards, or you can simply buy us a coffee. To do either, and to sign up for our ad-free version, just go to folkonfoot.com/support us. Every penny we get goes back into making more episodes, so please do support us if you can.
Hi, I'm Daniel, founder of Pretty Litter. Did you know cats tend to hide symptoms of sickness and pain? I learned this the hard way after losing my cat, Gingy. So I created Pretty Litter, a health monitoring litter that helps detect early signs of illness by changing colors, saving you money and potentially your cat's life. Pretty Litter is veterinarian developed, and it's the easiest way to keep tabs on your fur baby's health right at home.
Go to prettylitter.com and use code ACAST for 20% off your first order and a free cat toy. Terms and conditions apply. See site for details.
Hey, it's Paige DeSorbo from Giggly Squad. High quality fashion without the price tag. Say hello to Quince. I'm snagging high-end essentials like cozy cashmere sweaters, sleek leather jackets, fine jewelry, and so much more. With Quince being 50 to 80% less than similar brands. And they partner with factories that prioritize safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing. I love that. Luxury quality within reach. Go to quince.com/style to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. Quince.com/style.
The living room is where you make life's most beautiful memories. But your sofa shouldn't be the one remembering them. The new life-resistant, high-performance furniture collection from Ashley is designed to withstand all the spills, slip-ups, and muddy paws that come with the best parts of life. Ashley high-performance sofas and recliners are soft, on-trend, and easy to clean. Shop the high-performance furniture in-store or online at ashley.com. Ashley, for the love of home.